Okay, hi everybody. I'm so excited about this training today for some selfish reasons. I'm excited to get some information for myself, but also to share it with you guys. So I have Allie Dameron on today. She's our guest expert for the month of November in the VIP coaching group. And I also invited several other people. I actually posted on Facebook and put it in my If You Carb Cycle group. So several other people might jump on as well. We just really wanted to share the wealth and share the knowledge here because it's such an important topic. And gut health is really something that prevents, having poor gut health can really prevent you from reaching your health and fitness goals and feeling your best, even if you're doing some of the other things right. So I'm really passionate about this, and I know Allie is too. So Allie, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us, what your qualifications are and how you're an expert in this field, and then we can just get started.
All right, awesome. So thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to share this knowledge with you. My name is Allie Dameron. I am an acupuncturist and I specialize in women's health issues. I'm also a personal trainer and I have a podcast. And basically in my practice in online programs, I really work with women on all sorts of health topics, but gut health is being like the number one foundation of our health. And so this tends to come up a lot when women contact me for online consults or my office or whatever. They'll say they're having like weight issues or hormone issues or digestive issues or whatever. And it always happens that we have to talk about gut health. So I'm here to just talk to you guys about that today and share my knowledge with you.
Okay. Awesome. So let's start. Yeah, Allie is such a smart woman, and we met through we shared a business coach at one time. So we met in August and spent the weekend together in Florida, and that was such a nice time to get to know you. This cat, oh my goodness, gets to learn about gut health too. And we shared a car back to the airport and really got to know each other better, and we've been kind of connected ever since. So you're so smart, Allie, and you have such a good, knowledge base about this stuff. So I just am excited to hear what you have to say. So let's start by if you could give us an overview of, what is gut health and how do you know if you have a leaky gut, and what is that?
Okay, so when we talk about gut health, we basically are talking about two different parts of the gut. So the first one being your microbiome, and so that has to do with all the pathogenic bacteria and good bacteria, and clearly we want more of our good bacteria than our bad bacteria to balance that ratio out. So a lot of people tell you to take probiotics, and that is a great thing, but gut health goes a little bit beyond just taking a simple probiotic. The second part of gut health is your actual gut lining. And so in your gut system, you have junctions that allow food and particles in and out of them, and you want them to be fairly tight so that not a lot of big molecules, you want them to be pretty tight so that not a lot of molecules can get through there. Because if bigger molecules get through there, and that's called leaky gut, then your immune system in particular can start to kind of attack those protein molecules, and that's what really can start the cascade of autoimmune disorders mostly, but then it can also create other issues like bloating, gas, digestive problems, brain fog, all of these other things as well. So when we talk about gut health, we want to make sure that we're getting both our good bacteria, a lot of that in plentiful quantities, and then we also want to make sure those junctions in the gut lining are nice and healthy and not inflamed. When our gut lining is inflamed, that also can create an inflamed brain, which can also cause, like your brain fog and mental things. And then also neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, those things are also produced in your gut. So it can affect your mood as well.
So how do you know if you have leaky gut? Or should we just all assume that we have it?
So not to be like pessimistic, but honestly, all of us have it to some degree. No one's gut is perfect, and that's okay. With health, we're never looking for perfection. It's absolutely impossible to maintain an absolute optimum health all the time. We all go through cycles. We all go through things. Katie knows this. I just had the stomach flu yesterday, so my gut clearly is not in great shape today. So I'm going to need to work on that for a few weeks now. So we all cycle through things, and that's okay. But in terms of what to look for, if you're having things like I said, brain fog or forgetfulness, things like that, if you're feeling anxious, depressed, things like that, clearly if you're having digestive symptoms like constipation, IBS stuff, bloating a lot, sometimes it's okay as women to get bloating, it happens, but if you're feeling it like after every meal or something, that's a big deal. If you're having like joint pain and muscle pain, that can also be a sign that your gut's inflamed, because that inflammation will go to other areas of your body. Sometimes headaches and those things, sometimes even like hormone issues. A lot of hormones are produced in our gut, and they all kind of tie together with our adrenal system and ovarian axis. And so basically, whenever anybody comes to me for anything, we always look at the gut first.
Wow. I heard once that it's like the brain of your, what is it? The brain of your...
like the body's second brain.
The body's second brain. Yeah, that made so much sense to me. And I've never heard that until really the last like few years. It's kind of become more of a buzz topic. And I'm so glad it has, because I think so many people have it. And like you said, everybody really.
Yeah, totally.
So, if you think you have leaky gut, what should we be doing to prevent it or repair it or manage it?
Yeah, so in my opinion, in terms of like health, even if you're just worried about like your health and fitness, that type of a goal, you always want to be making sure that your gut's healthy. So number one defense against that is always to eat clean whole food nutrition, which if you guys are following Katie, I'm assuming that you're doing that, which is fantastic. The things that cause leaky gut and that can become problematic are things that have a lot of additives, preservatives, extra steroids, antibiotics, things like that in our food sources can actually obviously take away the good bacteria, but then create leaky gut as well. So as long as you're eating whole food nutrition, you're on a really, really good path to having a healthy gut. Even some of our fruits and vegetables, they actually do have different strains of probiotics and fiber, and what we call prebiotics, which is basically food for your probiotics. Oh. So if you're eating a lot of good fiber and good fruits and vegetables, you're definitely feeding your probiotics, which is a good first step. If you also want to take a probiotic every day, that is a great step in the right direction as well. Even a lot of multivitamins now have probiotics in them. And it kind of depends on where you think you are in your gut health journey, or how unhealthy you think your gut is, to what kind of cells you need or what kind of numbers. So like a typical one on the market will have probably about 5 billion cells in it, which is perfectly fine for somebody who's pretty healthy. But if you're having like any of the issues I described, or especially like an autoimmune disease or something, you might need to go up to 50 billion cells. There's a really wide range, and I see a lot of women that take probiotics that just aren't getting enough of a dosage in there to actually heal their gut. So always talk to a medical professional about what you think would be good for you, but there is a big range in that, and sometimes you need to take higher dosages just for a little bit to get things back to restored. And the other thing with probiotics is to make sure that you are switching them up.
Yes, so I was just going to ask you about that. Good.
Yeah, so you don't just want to take the exact same probiotic for your whole life, because most of the time they have just a couple strains in them, and you want to, there's like over 50 to 100 strains. We're still really researching that, even in the Western medical field, in determining all the different strains and everything they do. But you really want to make sure you're getting a multi-strain probiotic in there, and then you switch them up in the dosage every like bottle or 3 months, whatever you kind of want to do with that. But just make sure that you're not just doing the same thing all the time.
I love that. And do we need to get a probiotic that's refrigerated, Allie, or does it not matter?
So they're getting better at making the non-refrigerated ones more live cultures, like what we say. But typically the ones that are refrigerated are the best, in my opinion.
Okay.
They haven't been processed near as much generally. So that's always kind of my rule of thumb. I like the refrigerated ones better.
And I love the analogy of thinking of your gut as like the Amazon rainforest, and how you need all those different species to make a really great place to live. And so your gut is the same, and that's why you recommend switching them up, so you get lots of different strains of bacteria in your gut.
Yep.
I also read that this may be a little bit of a tangent, but just for a second, that the bacteria is actually taken from like animal intestines. It's not yet taken from human intestines, but that might be where we're going at some point. Is that right?
Yeah, so actually, at the risk of way too much information and sounding disgusting, there are people now that are doing like poop enemas.
Oh.
Like people will donate their feces if they have really healthy bacteria in there. Yeah, and for people with like IBS or different things, they will do that.
Wow.
Yeah, you can get stool testing done to know exactly which strains you have, which ones you don't, so that you can supplement differently.
Wow.
And so, yeah, you can definitely do the whole gamut of testing to figure that out. And people that have super healthy poop are selling it or donating it, I guess.
Isn't it funny? It's like such a departure from the whole, hand sanitize all the time, and and of course washing your hands is still really good, but I think as a culture we've sort of we've taken away a lot of the good bacteria in some of these practices, and so now we're trying to get it back in, and taking poop supplements. It's so funny.
I know. It is really funny, and to be honest with you guys, I was like totally a hand sanitizer person. My mom actually has an autoimmune disease, and so she was on immunosuppressant drugs forever, for like 10 years, and so she was also always really paranoid about getting sick, so she would Purell her hands like after everything that she ever touched. And I think that was like definitely a practice that we used 5 or 10 years ago, but now definitely learning that is not helpful. And on top of that, a lot of the hand sanitizers have stuff in them like triclosan or other stuff that is even toxic to us internally.
Wow.
So hand sanitizers, while they have their purpose, are not super helpful for our health either.
Yeah, I've sort of ditched them, except I keep one in my purse for times when I have my children and they refuse to use we're in a public restroom and they refuse to use it, or it's just too hard. But
I still have it too. Yeah,
I've done the same as far as like kind of getting rid of it from our house and that kind of thing. So Allie, we've got ways to heal your gut are to eat clean and whole food nutrition, limit the junk with all the additives. So that would be like fast food and prepackaged foods. And, the more of that you eat, the weaker your gut. Take a good probiotic and switch it up every time you kind of run out. Just get a new kind. So don't go to Sam's and buy like the 2-year supply.
Yeah. Probiotics can be a little expensive if you get good quality ones, but definitely worth it. Like I said, I can't emphasize it enough that your gut health is like the biggest insurance policy you can have on your whole entire health forever. I love that. And everything. So
yeah, I would agree. You, just as an aside, for those of you local to me, but actually you don't even have to be, 5 Star Nutrition, who I've partnered with, they have an amazing probiotic that has a prebiotic in it as well. And you can get it 25% off if you say my name. You can call and order and they'll ship it to you for free. It's just 5 Star Nutrition champagne. So you can check that out. And then also
we talk about the prebiotics. So there are, if you're having like constipation or something, there are what we call supplements called prebiotic fiber. And basically prebiotics are just a fiber kind of solution that will feed your probiotics. So a lot of different probiotic supplements, like Katie said, are including that now. Fruits and vegetables are great sources of that. But if you're really struggling with that, that's another great way to feed your good bacteria.
Okay, I love that. And then, so Allie, so we have those 2 tips for how to repair and heal your gut. Are there any others you want to add? Like fermented foods, maybe?
Yeah, so exactly, like fermented foods. I love kombucha. It's like my treat every day. So that is a great fermented food. Things like sauerkraut, kimchi, some of those other fermented foods are great as well. And my favorite thing lately, I've been doing this and adding this to my routine for the last few months, is just doing a cup of bone broth a day.
Oh yeah, I just bought that.
Yeah, so I just heat up like an 8-ounce mug or something of bone broth every day and drink that. And that has, it's like nature's multivitamin. It basically has like L-glutamine. It has tons of enzymes in it. It has tons of vitamins, iron, all kinds of great things in there for your immune health, your gut health. The L-glutamine is really what repairs those junctions. It's like the best supplement, and you can get it in a supplement, but just drinking bone broth has so many other great benefits to it as well that I think that's like one of the best things to do.
And I just found it at Aldi, you guys. So it's like, it's everywhere now. It's pretty mainstream. It's just in the aisle with the chicken broth.
Yeah. Yeah, you can buy really expensive ones, but I've found them just like in that aisle that aren't that expensive either.
Yeah. I mean, this was an organic one, and I made soup with it. I haven't been brave enough to drink it from a mug yet, but I'm going to try that after this call because you said so. Okay, what else, Allie? Anything else as far as ways to repair our gut?
So collagen peptides are another great way to repair your gut.
Yeah, tell us about those.
So collagen peptides are basically the what's in our connective tissue, and they basically like lubricate our joints, our face. When we get wrinkles and stuff, as we age, our collagen really decreases a lot. And so if you do collagen peptides, it can help heal the gut. It can help your face in terms of like radiance and wrinkles and all of that.
Yeah, your skin looks amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So what do you use? Like, is it a powder you pour in your shake, or is it a supplement?
Generally it's a powder. I like one that's called Vital Proteins. And it's like in a blue canister, and it's just called collagen peptides. But again, you guys, bone broth has collagen peptides in it as well. So you don't really have to do both, but it's just another way. You can definitely do both if you want to.
Okay.
But yeah, and it'll make your joints feel better. It'll cushion them if you have like osteoarthritis or something like that too. That's another great supplement.
Yay. Okay, I'm excited to get that. And it's flavorless, right? So you can just add it.
It is flavorless. Just put it in your water. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. That's great. And then, Allie, for people who feel like they need to know, like they need a test or they need a way to measure their gut health, is there a way to do that? Or is it more just intuition and knowing your body?
So like I said, you guys can go to get stool tested. That's like the best way to do it.
At your regular doctor?
I think so. I think a lot of them do it. I do it in my office. And to be honest with you, right now there's a company that's called Smart Gut, and they have a test called uBiome out, and they're basically a research company, and they are doing free research. So you just go on their website, order their kit, do the stool sample and send it back, and it's 100% free.
Whoa, Smart Gut?
The uBiome test. And so they want your insurance information because they try to submit it to get paid. They obviously get it denied, and then they just send it, and I've had no problems. I've had a lot of patients do it. I've done it. So it's kind of a good way to figure out what you're deficient in. It'll test for like C. diff, parasites, a couple other like pathogenic things, and then it'll show you like down the list of what you're healthy in and what you're deficient in, so you can get a probiotic supplement that will work best for you.
Oh my gosh, I'm totally doing this because, well, that's an aside, but I'm so interested in that, and I love that it's free.
Yeah, exactly, totally. Yeah, the ones that we have in my office are like a couple $100s, and so yeah, this is a good option for sure.
Okay. Let's see. Anything else we need to cover about this before we open it up for questions? Anything else you wanted to mention?
I don't think so. So one last thing, another way you can really tell if your gut health is off is if you get frequent colds and flus or get sick a lot. That is huge because like 80% of your immunity lies in your gut. So like this time of the year I have 2 small children, I am like pounding stuff for gut health to try to help with my immune system. And obviously yesterday that didn't work out that well, but hopefully for the rest of the year it will. So yeah.
I just feel like this is so helpful, Allie, and I want to like shout all this information to the world because we just have like an epidemic right now of people that don't have healthy guts, and being in a program like If You Carb Cycle and working with you too definitely helps you, but I think taking some supplements is always a good thing as well.
Yeah, totally.
I just wanted to offer a quick little testimonial to you guys about gut health because I just wanted to share one way that having poor gut health can look. So just a quick aside, and then if you guys want to type questions into the chat tool, if you have them, we'll answer those, and then we'll get off in a few minutes because a lot of us in my area have early dismissal of school today. Okay, so when I was little, for the first 5 years of my life, I was on antibiotics for chronic ear infections. And nowadays they would have put tubes in, but at that time the doctor just said she'll outgrow it. So I was on antibiotics for 5 years. And when, around 5, when I was kind of done with that, I developed chronic canker sores. And if you've never had a canker sore, they're these open sores in your mouth that are incredibly painful. And I wouldn't just get one, I would get like a family of them. So I'd get 3 or 4 in my throat, so it hurt to swallow, on my gums, on my tongue, on my lips. Just, it was horrible. And it was hard to smile and talk and eat. And I called them cranker sores when I was little before I knew what they were called because they made me cranky. But we tried everything. We tried allergy testing. We tried, talking to the dentist and the doctor and all sorts of things. And I never really figured it out until I was pregnant when I was older. And I realized that every time I was pregnant, I didn't have them. And so it was amazing. It was like, I loved not getting them at all while I was pregnant. So my doctor and I talked about it. And we decided to stay on the prenatal because the prenatals have all sorts of good things. And then after my 3rd pregnancy, I cleaned up my diet for the first time in my whole life. So I cut out the fast food, I cut out the pop. I started, adding a probiotic to my day. And since I did that, my canker sores they went from like 100% to maybe like 15%. And I'll still get them occasionally when I get a virus. So when my gut health is compromised, I'll get one. And then because it's like a bacteria in my mouth, I can get another one. But now I know what causes it and I know how to combat it. And it's just funny how something in my gut can affect something in my mouth. And so I just challenge you guys or encourage you to think about any of these kinds of things in your life that you have, symptoms that just feel like you shouldn't have them all the time. There's probably something that you can change or add that will help you with those things.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing testimonial. And I too kind of have a similar thing. I was on antibiotics a lot as a kid for chronic sinus infections. And I can remember being in elementary school and every single day just getting like major brain fog and headaches. And I was eating like really processed food for lunch. It was after lunch. And looking back, it's like so blatantly obvious, but it wasn't to my parents. It wasn't to my doctor. And even now, I have a 2-year-old and he gets eczema sometimes. And I went into his well visit this week and his doctor was like, well, do you put like Aquaphor on it or something? And I was like, no, we do. I have like an herbal thing for him for his face, but it's gut health. And even his doctor was like, oh, like didn't really look into it. And I was like, it is like skin health is 100% gut health. Any eczema, psoriasis, itching, things like that, you always look at the gut for that. So yeah, that is like my mission in life is to go through different symptoms and things with women and kids, mostly, and men too, but that's tend to where I specialize in, and help them with these things so that they don't do antibiotics forever or just crazy things that like will actually get to the root cause and get rid of things.
Well, and not to go down a super long other path, but as women, when we birth our babies, we pass on our gut health to our babies. So my daughters have the canker sore thing, and my son doesn't have it as much, which is interesting, but my daughters do. And so, I mean, you know, as a mom, it's hard to get them to take the right supplements, but it's something that at least I'm aware of that we can fix and work towards improving. So, you know, pay attention to your kids' issues. Like Allie said, that's usually the cause.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for Allie before we hop off? I just found this so helpful, Allie, and maybe you could even like turn it into your put it on your podcast. Although I know you've already done lots of gut health stuff.
Yeah, gut health and hormone health seems to be a big topic that people don't really ever get sick of listening to. So.
Yeah, it's just fun, I think, to feel like you can make a difference without going to the doctor. You know, like it's taking back control over our health rather than putting it in someone else's hands, and that is empowering. Okay, I'll give you guys like one more minute if you want to. If you raise your hand or if you want to use the chat tool, you can type in a question. And then Allie, while we're doing that, how can they get a hold of you if they want to talk with you about it? You know, a consult, or tell us your services.
Yeah, so I offer online consulting, and we can go from head to toe, look at your whole health history, and determine what symptoms you're having. And I can either, some states I can order tests, in Colorado I can, and a few other ones, or I can refer you to your doctor to ask for certain tests, or sometimes we don't even need tests, and we can just look at things like your symptoms and your history and go off of that and use some supplements. And I just like to tweak people's like dietary habits just a little bit and put them on some supportive herbs or supplements that will help all of these issues go away. So I do that. And then I also have a few online programs, mostly that I'm starting again at the beginning of the year. So you can find me on Facebook at Allie Dameron, or my podcast is The Allie Dameron Show on iTunes and Stitcher. Or my website is alliedameron.com. And feel free to just pull out the contact information on there.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Allie, your podcast is awesome. She has so many episodes and about all things health and some business things as well. If you guys, you know, don't listen to podcasts, it's a really great thing to do when you're in the car or you're doing the dishes. You can be, you know, improving your life while you're doing the dishes. How about that? All right. Well, I don't think there are any questions, but thank you so much, Allie. That was super helpful.
Thank you. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Thanks, Allie.
Bye.
Bye-bye.